to Nerdville.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. You must be cautious.
Hello there, Star Wars fans! One of the coolest aspects of the Star Wars universe is the lightsaber combat. Everyone remembers the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan, or Vader and Luke, but would you be able to figure out what lightsaber form they are using? This video will cover all classic forms of lightsaber combat, going from Form 1 to 7. We will give examples of masters of these styles, a brief description, and history, ending with their strengths and weaknesses.
Form 1, Chicho, also known as the Way of the Sarlacc. This style of combat is the oldest amongst the 7 lightsaber forms. It is primarily used by the Jedi, more specifically Jedi Padawans. The most famous master of this form is Jedi Master Kit Fisto. It is also referred to as the simplest lightsaber fighting style. It was created after the development of lightsabers, since Force wielders in the past used a standard sword as a weapon. In contrast to regular swords which cut on both sides, a lightsaber does not have that limitation, therefore opening up a brand new fighting style. Because of this, Chicho takes advantage by introducing broad sweeping strikes perfect for taking on multiple enemies, but also focusing on parrying and disarming opponents. The limitations of Chicho came to be when more Force wielders use lightsabers, since it was not a fighting style meant for one-on-one combat.
Form 2, Makashi, also known as the Way of the Isalamiri, or the Contention form. This form was developed to specialize in one-on-one combat because lightsabers became more prevalent. Count Dooku is the greatest master of this form. Makashi emphasizes skill over brute force, always assuming that the adversary has a strong knowledge of lightsaber combat and focuses on 3 main elements. Economy of movement, relying on precise footwork to spend as little energy as possible. Balance of offense and defense, maintaining optimal distance from opponents, using skilled footwork to move in or pull back as the moment demands, and avoiding positions that would make them vulnerable to disarmament, as well as feints to create openings. Tactical analysis, where they continuously analyze their opponent's actions to identify weaknesses that they can exploit. The drawbacks of Makashi are, the form was not designed to defend against long-range weapons that gained popularity at the time. The other limitation is that it struggles against multiple opponents.
Form 3, Sarisu, also known as the Way of the Mynock, is a very defensive form. The greatest master of this form is Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. Grandmaster Yoda also frequently used this as a secondary fighting style. Sarisu was invented when blasters became more popular, and to take advantage of lightsabers being able to deflect blaster bolts. Sarisu users have an extreme mastery over their lightsabers, covering every part of their body to leave as little openings as possible, all the while looking for the perfect moment to strike. It is not only a useful form for facing blasters, but also lightsaber wielders, where a Sarisu user can bide their time, seeming invincible, until their enemy tires themselves out, patiently waiting with an impregnable defense to find an advantageous terrain, or the enemy's weak point. The obvious disadvantage of the Sarisu form is on the over-reliance on defense and not taking the offensive. While it is true that Obi-Wan perfected this form to its utmost, most Sarisu users could get overwhelmed by a more offensive form. If you made it this far into the video, don't forget to force push that like button.
Do it.
Form 4, Ataru, also known as the Way of the Hawkbat, or the Aggression form, places as much stress on offense as Sarisu does on defense. Ataru is the most dynamic and visually thrilling of the combat forms. Master Yoda uses Ataru as his main form of combat, as well as Revan. The creation of this form stretches back to the Old Republic era, during the Mandalorian Wars. This form was utilized heavily by the Jedi, who partook in this conflict led by Revan. Practitioners unleashed a quick torrent of lightsaber strikes, with the main aim of breaking through the opponent's defenses and bringing the battle to a speedy conclusion. This involves blows from many angles and positions, as each strike fluidly transitions into the next attack. The Ataru stance relies on its acrobatics, flips, leaps, and somersaults. The disadvantages are the opposite of Form 3. Ataru is all about offense. It includes few defensive moves and tactics. Consequentially, the form tends to be inadequate in situations where the practitioner must contend with multiple opponents. The physically demanding form also limits its user, since they wouldn't be able to sustain longer fights.
Form 5, Chien de Gemso, also known as the Way of the Krayt Dragon. It is one of the rare styles where we see it split into 2 subcategories, Chien and de Gemso. There are many users of this form across different eras, since it is a form that is very well oriented towards offense and defense. Masters of this form include, in the Republic era, Anakin Skywalker, and from the Old Republic, Darth Malgus. If Ataru was meant to cover certain of the offensive weaknesses of Surisu by adopting a more athletic, aggressive fighting style, the Gemso Shien are meant to build on Surisu and create a defensive-offensive hybrid approach to lightsaber combat. Shien stays more in line with Surisu as it is focused on countering blaster users and performing quick offensive strikes to counter. Most Shien experts prefer to use a reverse grip. Ahsoka Tano is a good example of this. The Gemso is a more aggressive variant, where it is more focused on lightsaber duels and passionate strikes, relying on the user's strength, all the while switching from defense to offense, which puts a lot of stress on the user's body.
Form 6. Niman, also known as the Way of the Rancor, the Moderation form, and the Diplomat's form. It's all about providing the practitioner with a balanced approach to lightsaber combat. Niman is a synthesis of all 5 previous forms. The result of this fusion is a form that has no obvious weaknesses, nor any overwhelming strengths. Master Sindralin was the ultimate user of this form. Even though this technique is preferred by Jedi, Darth Maul and Sidious were very proficient at this form. Since the form is extremely well-rounded, it's often used in combination with the Force to enhance the limitation of a less specialized style. Because of its relaxed focus on blade work, many Niman users adopt to use dual wielding. This form was favored by members of the Jedi Order who were primarily interested in diplomatic activities. The weaknesses of this form is the lack of weakness, leaving the users at the mercy of lightsaber wielders that are experts in another form.
Form 7. Juyo, also known as the Way of the Vorn Skirt. Here we have another form split into 2 categories, Vaapad and Juyo. However, Vaapad is a more specific lightsaber form created by Windu in the Republic era. Therefore, we will cover it in another video. The most famous user of Juyo is the acrobatic Sith Lord Darth Maul, and also his master Sheev Palpatine. Juyo, or the Ferocity form, is the most violent lightsaber form, using emotions to gain dominance in a fight. Because of this, the use of this form was frowned upon by the Jedi, since they feared it might push certain members of the Order towards the dark side. Juyo was clearly more tailored towards Sith, with Darth Sidious calling it a Sith combat style. Form 7 focuses on erratic and chaotic lightsaber swings to be unpredictable. Like Makashi, it is a style more tailored to lightsaber on lightsaber combat. But unlike Form 2 and 4, it is a more violent form with less stress on elegance. Its underlying weakness is that even more than Form 5 and 4, it is an extremely physically taxing technique that requires the user to spend a lot of energy. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed watching the video. Let us know what your favorite lightsaber form is in the comments below. Personally, I'm a big fan of Surisu and the Gemso.
We will cover more specialized forms such as Vaapad and the variant of the Gemso Vader created in another video. See you next time.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.